The snowflakes fell softly that Christmas night, glowing like tiny stars against the golden lights of my son's house. I stood at the doorway, holding a small gift wrapped in red paper, a watch I'd saved 3 months to buy for my grandson, Ethan. It was supposed to be a happy evening. Family, laughter, memories. But little did I know that Christmas would be the night I'd lose my place in my own family. "Grandpa's here," Ethan shouted, running toward me with open arms. His hug warmed the cold right out of me. "I missed you." "I missed you too, champ," I said, ruffling his hair. "Got something special for you." But before I could even hand him the gift, a sharp voice cut through the living room. "Why are you here uninvited, Frank?" It was my daughter-in-law, Melissa, her arms folded, eyes narrowed like I'd just broken into her home. I smiled politely. "It's Christmas, Melissa. I just wanted to be with family." "Family?" she scoffed. "You don't live here anymore. You had your chance to be part of this family, but now this is our home." My son, David, stood behind her, eyes down, silent as usual. He used to be strong, confident. Now he just looked small. "David," I said softly, "you told me to come by, remember?" "You said." Melissa cut me off. "That was before I knew. You didn't even call. You just show up here expecting dinner and gifts like old times? We're not running a charity." The words stung more than I wanted to admit. My fingers trembled slightly as I held Ethan's gift. "Melissa, please," I said, my voice cracking a little. "I just wanted to spend a few hours with my grandson. That's all." Her voice rose. "No, you've had your time, Frank. You made your choices. This is our family Christmas now. Get out of my house." The room went silent. Even the crackling fire seemed to pause. Ethan looked up, confused. "Mom? Grandpa didn't do anything." But Melissa's glare was firm, icy. David finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "Dad, maybe it's best if you go. We'll visit you soon, all right?" I swallowed hard, my throat burning. "Right," I muttered. "Wouldn't want to ruin your perfect evening." I turned to leave, my boots heavy on the wooden floor. Behind me, Ethan shouted, "Grandpa!" "Don't go." But Melissa pulled him back. Outside, the cold bit into my bones, but it was nothing compared to the ache in my chest. I sat in my old pickup truck, the gift still in my hand, and for the first time in years, I cried. That night, I couldn't sleep. The Christmas lights I'd strung outside my small cottage flickered weakly through the frost-covered window. My wife, Margaret, had passed 10 years ago, and every year since, Christmas had felt a little emptier. But this year, it was hollow. Then, as I looked at the clock, it was just past midnight. I made a decision. If they didn't want me as part of their family, then I'd remind them exactly what family meant. The next morning, I got up early, loaded my truck, and drove to the edge of town, to the shelter I volunteered at sometimes, a place full of people who had no one to call family. I handed out food, gifts, and warm blankets. Then I spotted a young mother and her daughter, shivering near the corner. The little girl couldn't have been older than Ethan. I gave her the red-wrapped gift, the watch. "It's for your dad," I said softly, "but he'd probably want you to have it." Her smile, pure and bright, was the only Christmas gift I needed. As I helped serve meals, laughter filled the air. Strangers shared food, warmth, and kindness. It wasn't about fancy decorations or expensive gifts. It was about love, something my son's house no longer had. By the time evening came, I felt lighter. The following day, I got a knock on my door. I opened it to see David standing there, his face pale and eyes red. "Dad," he said quietly, "can I come in?" I nodded, stepping aside. He held something in his hands, Ethan's small red hat. "Melissa told me what she said to you last night," he continued, voice trembling. "I didn't stop her. I should have. Ethan's been crying since you left." I sighed. "David, I understand. She's your wife." He shook his head. "No, Dad. There's no excuse for the way she treated you. We went to your house this morning to apologize, but you weren't there. Ethan saw the photo online. The shelter posted about you. You fed all those people?" I smiled faintly. "They needed family more than I did." He looked down, ashamed. Ethan said, "Grandpa gave Christmas to everyone else when we didn't give it to him." "Melissa?" She broke down when she saw it. "She's been crying all morning." I didn't say anything. I just sat there, watching the snow outside the window. Finally, David spoke again, voice low. "Dad, can we spend Christmas again? The right way?" At your place this time, I turned to him. For a moment, I saw the boy he used to be, the one who helped me fix old cars in the garage, laughing with grease on his face. "Only if your wife comes too," I said. "Christmas isn't about pride or anger. It's about forgiveness." He nodded slowly. "She'll be here." That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, my small cottage glowed with warmth and laughter. Melissa stood by the kitchen, wiping her eyes as she watched Ethan hand me a handmade card that said, "Best Grandpa in the world." "I'm sorry," she whispered, voice breaking. "I was cruel." "You didn't deserve that," I smiled gently. "We all forget what matters sometimes, but it's never too late to remember." We sat together, eating simple food, soup, bread, and apple pie. Nothing fancy, but it was real. When the clock struck 9, Ethan crawled into my lap and fell asleep. The snow outside sparkled under the moonlight. Melissa looked at me and said, "You gave Christmas to people who had nothing. And in doing that, you gave it back to us, too." I chuckled softly. Sometimes you have to lose everything to remember what truly matters. That Christmas didn't start the way I hoped, but it ended the way it should have, full of warmth, forgiveness, and love. And as I sat by the fire, holding Ethan close, I thought to myself, maybe being thrown out of that house was the best gift I ever got.